Good evening, witches.
Hi.
Welcome to week 7 of the Beginner Witch series. Tonight we're going to talk about
The magical properties of everyday items. We're gonna get this together.
Oh my god. Okay, seriously.
Okay.
all right.
Are you pointing to somebody? Are we redoing
I was
this
pointing to Jolene. Yeah, for you to
Okay.
say it. You
one
have
more
to-
time?
Okay.
All right.
Good evening, witches.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome to week 7 of the Beginner Witch series. And tonight we're going to talk about
Magical properties.
okay.
Of everyday items.
All right, we
Love
better
this
get going.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. We're
Hi, witches.
sorry to keep you waiting. We're getting started just a couple of minutes late. It's been a comedy of mishaps around.
My goodness.
We're getting ready to sage because there's like some strange energy or something going
It's
on.
kind of how it was on the full moon where we just kept like tripping and stepping on things and bumping it, and you're like, what is going on?
Only tonight it's spilling stuff, knocking into each other, all kinds of
Just comical.
Yeah.
So we're pulling out a nice sage bundle and we're just gonna ask for the blessing of the goddess. The new moon is trying to set us up for something. I don't know. But we're
Do you
gonna
guys ever have that happen where things are going on around your house and it's like, oh my God,
yeah.
if I drop or break one more thing or fall or whatever, I'm gonna go to bed.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Putting
start
myself to
again,
bed.
start again tomorrow. So it's really funny when the three of us get together and we have all kinds of crazy mishaps, because then we're like, okay, what are we supposed to interpret from this? All of us trying to divine a message of, all right, do we need to slow down? Do we need to hurry up? What's our lesson here? I'm taking a long time to get this started.
I see.
Even my sage doesn't want to burn tonight. What's
All
up
right.
with that?
If you're new, welcome. For all of you who are return witches, returning witches, welcome. I'm Kat. This is Jolene here,
Hi.
and this is Jamie.
Hello.
And tonight we are going to talk about magical properties of everyday items. And this is part 1.
Yes.
What happened? It didn't do it?
This is a 2-part series because the introduction of this, what would you call this? Not philosophy, but like the introduction to understanding that everything has energy, is energy, that we connect with it, can sometimes be a lot to grasp. So we made this into a 2-part. And tonight, what you're not going to hear a lot of individual items and their magical properties. That's more next week. So anyone who comes next week is not going to have any theory behind it. And everybody this week will get the understanding of the theory behind why we are completely surrounded by magic. Or even how we are. What happened?
Nothing.
I'm also blowing ashes everywhere. I'm not really sure what's happening.
My contact's getting in.
Wait, excuse me, but where's my drink? And why am I hot? Oh, because I'm sitting in the middle of you guys.
You're smashing.
You're a monkey in the middle.
Monkey in the middle.
Cheers. We got, all of us are having different drinks tonight. I have vodka and Coke. You have,
Vodka martini.
And I have wine and sparkling water.
there we go.
So what are you guys drinking tonight, if anything? You want to tell us about it in the chat?
Any teas, any
Yeah.
herbal concoctions.
All right. So we're going to get started. So magical properties of everyday items. Okay. As Jamie was saying.
I love this because we didn't go through the list and assign paragraphs.
No, we didn't. But since I'm in the middle, I'm starting. So I'm in the middle.
Okay.
So everything in the universe is energy. And that's the very first thing to understand about all of the things that we do every day as witches. We are harnessing, if you will, the energy that's around us, recognizing the energy around us in all of the things that are around us. Everything has its unique energetic vibration. And when I say everything, I mean literally everything.
Single thing.
Everything.
Everything.
A bowl.
Everything.
A kitchen bowl.
A kitchen bowl. A kitchen spoon.
A spoon. I don't know. I don't
I
know.
got the bowl, you guys got the spoon. We're making something.
Sounds.
Just see that everybody's muted. I heard some. Okay, a tree may seem like an inanimate object, but it carries a vibration. All things in our universe vibrate. Nothing stands still, not even a rock or a crystal. They all vibrate with energy because at a molecular level, everything is moving. With this knowledge, you will be able to better understand the energetic properties of everyday items. So I'm going to switch to Jamie and let you pick up from there.
Because that's the key to understanding why we use items in witchcraft. Why do we use sage? Why do we use Palo Santo? Why do we burn candles? What does this bring to us? Because for somebody who doesn't have the knowledge, it's just a candle. They don't see it as sacred or symbolic. It's just a candle for them. It's just a leaf. It's just a tree. It's just a rosemary bush. You guys get it? So in understanding that every single thing has a vibration, that's why we pull it into our magical workings whenever we're trying to bring something into our life. So I wrote some examples in here, and this is to help you also possibly explain to other people who are very new and want to understand your practice. A lot of witches get flustered when people ask them, like, why have all the things? If your connection is just with the earth, why do you need all the extra tools? What is that about? So if you were to pick up a leaf, you have to remember that you're picking up energy, a stick, whatever, a branch, grass, dirt, the crystal at the store. And it's easy for us to understand that, like, living, breathing things, our animals, the birds, insects, they all have energy within them because they express it. It's much harder for us to understand how a tree expresses its energy or how a rose expresses its energy. That's why we've written things down, or we have our own ideas of what that might represent for us, because that's what we match with it energetically, what that rose represents for us, what a tree or a certain, I was thinking more of the inanimate stuff that doesn't move, that's much harder.
I was thinking about why I'm drawn to certain rocks or other, seashells. And you guys probably have the same experience when you're out and you're walking in the forest and you find a pretty stick or a pretty rock or some other inanimate object.
I love
You're
moss.
drawn to that. You're drawn to that, not just because of its beauty, but on an energetic level, you're drawn to that.
Yes. So understanding that the things that aren't moving in our world they also contain energy. Okay, so even our electronics now, like this day and age that we're in and all of the stuff around us, it also has an energy about it as well. So why is this kind of important? How do we link this to witchcraft, right? You've heard people say, oh, that's my vibe. Oh, I vibe with that person. That means that on a vibrational level, those two things resonate with each other. It means that they sing the same note. And I'm not going to get deep off into it like I did with the fall. If you watch the fall version of this one, I went very deep into kind of the quantum mechanics of it, on how things actually sing, like everything in our universe sings at a certain note. But that's what resonate means. We vibrate at the same level, and so we attract what we vibrate. That is so important for spells.
It also happens with people. I mean, how many people are you either drawn to or sort of like, not my energetic vibe? You just feel something about them. Yeah. So it happens with human beings. Your vibe attracts your tribe.
But that's where we're able to really easily see it. It can be the same thing with things that you're just not attracted to in your life. I always go back to the color red. I never had the color red in my life. I hated it. I was like, you're disgusting. I don't want you around me ever. I know, it's weird. Look at
Yeah.
my mother was like the epitome of red.
And I loved red growing up too.
I mean, red nails, red lipstick, red anything. I was like, I'm repulsed by red. It's so sad. And that was because for me, my root chakra was not all together. I'm a Pisces. I'm like way up in the clouds. I'm energetic up here. I didn't want to be earthbound. So red for me, I rejected it because I hadn't done that work yet. I'm very okay with red now. Now I can do red. But that's one of the examples of how we understand the energy of things, whether it's color, shape, inanimate objects, where we're just like, I don't know why everybody loves that. I despise it. Why? Why is everybody obsessed with that?
Avocados. Everybody loves avocados except for me. I think I'm the only person in the world that doesn't like avocados.
I think it's because you grew up where like you had the farm or the house that had all the avocados, and maybe
We
it
had
was
an avocado grove
exposed.
behind my house.
They
Yeah.
got too much avocado maybe once
Yes.
upon a time. Okay. I talked about the vibe. We'll move on to the next little part. Read as much as you want to. We didn't assign paragraphs tonight, so we're just winging it, you guys. Yay. Anybody else winging it?
This is mostly what we just talked about.
Is it?
I
Oh
th- I
man.
think so.
Okay. You want me to look at it really quick?
Yeah,
Okay. I write this, so it's my fault if it gets all screwed up.
yeah. I can't follow her notes.
Oh, yeah.
Unless I'm reading
I
them
can take it
prior.
if you want to break, Jay.
Well, I guess this is one of my quick notes because when we talk about that things resonate with us or don't, what I truly believe, you guys, and what witchcraft has always been for me is that it always comes back to healing, understanding a part of ourselves, and then healing that part of yourself. A lot of people that I've taught are in witchcraft because they're in a healing journey and they're looking for that, like, where do I connect to? And they're not finding it in humans. And so they need a practice for themselves that connects them to something bigger, but also feels like it's very meaningful, and it's not in a church and it's not among the acceptance of other people. It's just really like within themselves. Like, you need to be your own church in your heart, your own spiritual facility in your heart, in your body, and know what you want. So for me, with witchcraft being healing and using like plants and herbs and, going back to our roots to heal stuff, you start healing your mind. What starts out as healing like your heart or your body because, you gain too much weight or like you just want to live better. You all of a sudden start to realize that it's actually your mind that you start healing. You start changing the way that you think about stuff. So the reason that through your witchcraft journey, eventually, if you start out trying to heal one part of yourself, whether it's your health or your heart, you end up healing your mind because we realize that our mind and what we think about creates our reality. And this goes into a lot of stuff within witchcraft and why we do spells or what we're looking for in manifestation. Like, all those things become related. But if you understand that what you think about, you bring about, what is constantly going in your mind becomes your reality. That's the top tier of what witchcraft is all about, being in control of yourself. I love that song. I don't know what her name, I forgot her name now, but the song that's on Instagram somewhere, it's A Woman in Total Control of Herself, WITCH. Yes, I love that song. It's absolutely perfect because being in control of yourself is being in control of your mind, your emotions, understanding yourself, and that's the witchcraft journey.
Well, I think it's also the journey to your elevated self where you're
Definitely.
in control of your emotions. You don't lash out. You're able to stay in that higher vibrational level of kindness and love, and
Yeah.
just you're not down in the low levels of our energetic feelings like anger and.
You want to go through hexing and talk about like protection from evil and all that. So there's this other part of it I just love, and I'm gonna let Sister Jolene read it.
Sister Jolene.
Sister Jolene. Jolene. Sister Jolene. We can call her by her real name, but I was like,
We talked about that the other day. She's like, it feels weird to call you Jolene. I'm like, I know. But going into protection, that's always been a big one for me. I feel like I definitely pick up on energies that are living and also not. And I always want to make sure that I'm protected from that. And also anybody else's negative thoughts or wishes that they may have for me. I want to try to put up a shield and protect myself from, those things. So what are some things that we can use to protect ourselves? Anybody have any answers?
When you think of protection, what comes to mind? Is it like a locked door? Is it
What properties?
Yeah.
What everyday items would you be? Good.
Hey, a gun is relevant.
1,000%.
A gun
You're
is
not-
relevant.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
My sister and I definitely sleep or have slept with machetes beside our beds. Like that's
Yeah.
the kind of
Yeah.
That's the kind of person you're gonna, run into.
Condoms.
I'm. I love that.
Salt, rosemary, crystals, charged circle. Yeah.
And they're all
A
different
dagger.
types of protection, right? Protecting your physical body, protecting your emotional body, protecting your sexual body. Condoms. It's the same thing, but what you're doing is you're creating a barrier with something. You're recognizing that you want to be separate from something else, and you put something there in place of that. You guys, in the simplest terms, that's basically what a spell or a ritual is. You're putting something in between you and the event, whether it's bringing it to you, pushing it away from you. A spell is that thing that you're putting in between you and the event.
Yeah. And going back to living and dead, I don't see evil spirits or anything like that.
Living and-
The living and the dead energy that I can pick up on.
Yes.
Stay with us.
I thought you said in dead. No. I was like, I don't know what that means.
Like living in color, but living in dead. No. So what I want to say is that I don't fear evil energy, if you will. And so when I say I'm protecting myself from energies, it's mostly people who have passed that may still be dealing with some kind of trauma that I don't want to imprint on me or my area. So those are things that I think about, but I don't, attraction, like you said, what you think about, you bring about.
Yeah.
So I don't want you guys to think, oh my God, do I need to go
No.
do something crazy to my house to protect it against evil spirits? Because I don't really believe in that, to be honest with you,
But
yeah.
Oh,
things can happen in a place where you live, where a lot of energetic things happen, very negative, and you end up needing to extricate yourself
break free.
from that situation.
Mm.
Personally, I moved 1,000 miles away from where I lived before because I was in such a toxic relationship for such a long time. I couldn't break free from it without creating that distance between me and that toxic energy and that toxic person or persons. It was actually more than one person, but it was one person. The majority of it was coming from one place, but it was other things too. It was all the things around me that had fed into that. So sometimes that happens where, and I don't know, maybe I wasn't witchy enough then. If I'd have done the salt circle around my house and started saging and stuff before I moved here, I wasn't practicing witchcraft. So I probably didn't know to do those things. Maybe now it would be different, but point being, I think about
The energy.
Yeah.
And it can stay stagnant.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. Imagine a place where lots of violence happens, where lots of arguments happen, where there's yelling or screaming or whatever. That energy is absorbed by the inanimate objects. I mean, if we think about why we cleanse crystals or program them, because we want to bring them back to their base state and give them a purpose. So that's the same with your house. Why do we cleanse our house? Why do we do blessings and protection spells around our homes? Because anything negative that may have occurred there, you're asking it to leave and return to where it came from. And you want to bring it back into a harmonious state where everything in nature, this is just a quick point, but everything in nature exists in harmony. We are disruptors of harmony because we have the free will to start changing stuff. But in nature, everything already exists in the ecosystems of harmony. It's always trying to achieve harmony and balance. Humans come in and add in this flare of, we don't know what's going to happen next, So when your house can also have a harmony about it until negative or bad things happen within the home. And like Kat said, sometimes there's not enough sage or salt in the world. You need to physically remove yourself from a space, because if you continue to think about all of the negativity that's there, all the happenings, you're re-inviting all that energy back into your space. It's really difficult. We've talked about this with people who might watch, TV shows that are in one direction or another. We watched horror movies as kids, and we came across many things that were unsavory. So did we invite that in because I was obsessed. I think she tagged along, but we had like a whole little mini library of serial killer books.
Well, I think what you did do is you invited in fear, because you guys,
In fear,
you
for
had
sure.
a fear
Yes.
about
Yeah.
things happening, and they would go, and as young children, they would go out together, the two of them, and it was like them against the world.
Yes.
And they were always on the lookout for like the creepy boogeyman, that was in the white van or whatever.
They were there.
Because they watched so many of these shows, which they were like totally obsessed with.
Enthralled.
But what happened, consequently was this fear that built around them
It
as
did.
young children, fear of certain men that looked certain ways,
Yeah.
white vans, anything suspicious, and pretty much everything was suspicious.
They weren't wrong.
Yeah, well, what happened was our thoughts that we had, we eventually got proved right because we brought situations into our life, because we energetically connected with that, because we were looking for it all the time. We have many creepy, weird stories. I mean, almost
Yeah.
kidnappings, running from people and hiding in broom closets inside of a Wendy's one time, like creepy shit that has happened. And when we got away from each other and started living our own lives, I think we stopped caring about that energy, and we became, enthralled with something else, like being an adult and having a job. But as kids, we were. And so if you think about that you bring about experiences that you constantly think about. I bring up the car accident thing, right? I had to do an entire mantra around it. Before COVID happened, driving for me was just a stressful, hectic, anxiety producing thing. And COVID gave me the relief of that. So when I started driving again, I'd actually create a mantra in my car that I repeated, because now I recognize it. I didn't recognize it when I was in the situation, but it's something to help you move out of those emotions and not attract it to yourself. If you're always thinking about a car accident, you're probably going to be in a car accident. That's just what's going to happen energetically.
Yeah, for sure. So you wrote some stuff about hexes and curses, and
because this is energy.
Yeah, a lot of people probably, well, I don't know about you guys, but I think I've heard a lot of people
yeah.
Can I be
Well,
hexed?
they thought, we've had people
Yeah.
definitely ask us, did we think that they were hexed because of things happening to them? Can they be cursed? Is that real? And I think what I would say about that is, if you believe you are, then you are. If you don't believe in it, it's really hard for it to happen to you because you don't accept it into your circle. Like if your energetic circle doesn't allow that belief, think about it like this. All right, that might be something that's scary enough to believe could happen. Do you believe that you could be
possessed by the devil?
That's almost where I was going. What's that? The Stigmata. If you guys ever saw that movie, I love that movie. The Stigmata movie. If you believe that the Stigmata could happen to you, and maybe that, I want it to be something super far-fetched, because I don't think any of us here are super Christian. So that usually only happens to extremely religious people or something, I believe. So if you believe something like that could happen to you, that's the energy that you bring forward. Just like if you believe that, your house is going to be broken into or someone's going to rob you, all those things can happen to you because you're inviting in the possibility through your thoughts. You're energetically lining up. Remember, the vibration of thoughts and everything, it all lines up with the instance or whatever's going to happen to it. So if you want to get healthy, think healthy thoughts.
Well, and I think another thing in that same vein is, if you want to be healthy and a healthy mind, then listen to things, read things, watch things on television, that are positive, find witch podcasts or just positive, uplifting podcasts. I mean, it doesn't have to be, or YouTube channels or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you're watching, I saw somebody likes the serial killers, the women about women. So Liza, I think it was you that commented that you watch anything about serial killers. And I guess my question would be, is that for a psychological, are you analyzing them? I would be curious about that. You can answer in the chat if you want to. But so I guess what the point is to say that if you want things positive in your life, participate in positive activities like reading good books that are uplifting and watching things on television or listening to things that are uplifting.
Whatever life you're looking for, you don't even have to do a spell for this. You don't have to do a ritual, but whatever life you're looking for, watch things around that exact experience. So as silly as it may be, if you want to find your Prince Charming, watch things where people find their Prince Charming, because it helps you have the belief that it's possible. Because I think that's what we're getting into next, is because your mind is your ultimate tool in witchcraft for everything. That's the first thing that you want to have the most control over, controlling your thoughts and what you're putting out into the universe. to attract back to you.
Is that why I love rom-coms? I love rom-coms. I just
I
watch them like
know.
all the time. Like, oh, I love that. I love people in love.
Oh.
And I wonder if that's because that's what I want. So I'm
Yeah.
like drawn to love stories and people who are happy together. And I read these things, I'm like, oh my God, that's the cutest thing I've read. That's the cutest thing I've read today.
All right, what are you drawn to?
That's why I was sitting over here quiet. I was like,
She doesn't say, what are you drawn to?
Yeah.
You can put that in
Yeah.
the chat for us and tell us, like, what are you drawn to?
mine's always.
So
been
Jolene's
true
gonna tell
crime.
us.
True
She's
crime,
always
Jolene's
been
Gonna
true
tell us
crime.
what she's drawn to.
That's because she's a detective, you guys. You know,
For sure.
I like you should be a PI. She'd be so good at it.
Yeah.
I even sent her a link to this girl that's on YouTube that she does makeup professionally, which I don't know if you know, but my sister's absolutely gorgeous and taught us our makeup, right? So like she already does that part. And she is so good at spying or stalking kind of in a
I'm just nosy as hell. And so I'm really good at finding out what I need to find.
she just knows how to nose it, you know?
You know, it's like if I have information that I need, honey, I'm gonna find it.
So I always wanted her to be a PI. I think that's why she likes
Yeah,
true
it
crime-
is, for
Tell us
sure.
how
crime
many
stuff.
Facebook profiles you have.
Probably like 4. I have a couple spam accounts where I can go and stalk the people that I've blocked. I've blocked them, but I still need to know what's going on.
She would be a very good private
Very-
detective.
yeah, very good.
Very good private detective.
All fun and games though.
All right.
It's the next page, I think, now. because
Yeah.
We talked about cursing.
Okay.
Oh, yes, so this gets into that. And me?
Yeah,
Okay.
you got excited. I'm gonna give it to you.
I'm trying not to take up the
Yeah.
whole meeting, but when we talk about that we're attracting whatever is in our minds, you guys. Okay, so think about that. Our minds, this is air, right? This is communication through thought is an air sign. This is what we do. This is Gemini's. That's all I'm gonna go with right now because that's who I think of. But as air
Libras.
and Capricorn,
No.
who
Aries or Aquarius.
okay.
Aquarius,
So with the
yeah.
air signs, this is like the mental communication through the air. Mercury is who I associate with air. It's communication. But if we're all air, you know what happens when we're all up here in the clouds and stuff and doing all that crazy things? We forget to ground ourselves. This is where understanding the energy balance between our human selves and our minds and our spiritual goals of reaching out beyond, and then bringing our body back to base so that we can exist. These two opposing factors. We are an earthly human body with a spiritual airy mind. Okay, so these two things are constantly at battle with who's going to be in control. What are we doing? What are we working for? Are we physically surviving? Are we mentally and spiritually growing? So this is where the practice of grounding really comes in handy. And it's why we connect with the earth, because our bodies are physical and we can realign everything, just standing on the earth, barefooted, breathing deeply, reaching up to the sky, and, you know, maybe some yoga poses in there, but really relaxing into our physical bodies to be here and be present, every day being present. So the reason that we talk about grounding is to connect with the earth, because we are earth beings right now. In doing so, you're connecting with the energetic properties of Mother Earth and realigning yourself to a more harmonious state. Remember what I said? Every ecosystem in nature is constantly seeking harmony and balance. When you go out and just be a tree standing in your yard with your feet planted on the ground and just absorbing that, you're becoming more harmoniously aligned with the physical earth. It's proven that living in constant stress creates disease. I hope we all know that by now. I feel like social media has really helped everybody come to terms with the fact that like living in stress is extremely bad for our health.
And you might say disease as
Dis-ease.
dis-ease.
Ooh, she's so
Ooh.
good.
I love it.
Dis-ease. That's
Dis-ease.
us. Dis-ease.
So meditation is truly just not thinking about your stresses, and then reflection realigns yourself with your purpose. So that's why we talk about meditation and reflection. It's not to meditate and necessarily reach a higher level, but to relieve the stressful thoughts that bog you down every single day. And then to realign your spiritual self with that reflection of why am I here? What is my purpose? What do I want to do? How do I want to help this time and era that I'm in right now that I chose to come back to? We all chose to come back here for a purpose, however big or small it is, but you have the power to have effects that ripple throughout space and time. And so what is it that you're doing to help you achieve your wholeness and others achieve theirs? We're doing this. This is our goal, is to help people achieve their highest selves by us putting ourselves out here right now. And I think that if there's one thing that you write in your book of shadows today, because we haven't talked about journaling prompts in a couple of weeks, but I really want you guys to remember that we are souls having a human experience.
No.
And that's truly what's happening here. As much as we get bogged down by our physical realities and being present and doing the jobs, we are souls that are going to move on from this body and have a revelation after this to whatever the next thing is, whatever you believe it is. Okay, I'm going to pass this over to Kat because I feel like you haven't spoken in a while.
I have
Oh,
not.
well, there you go.
You know, you said something a minute ago about we chose this life, you know, we chose
To come back during this time.
to
Yes.
incarnate as who
Yes.
we are today, because we came here to learn lessons. So, you know, for some people, I know they come here and they have a lot of challenges. They have a lot of health challenges, and you might be one of those people, or they just have a lot of personal challenges, and life seems really effing hard, you know, like it's like, why is it always difficult? And, you know, when you're, I guess I would say when you're feeling that way, to remember that you chose this because you needed to come back here to learn something. So
As a soul growth.
as a
thing.
soul, yeah, as a soul. So because sometimes I think that I feel like maybe we come across, or some of the things that we can say in witchcraft is like, this is a cure-all. We can put some salt around our house and it can protect us and it can clear out the negative energy. And that doesn't always work, because some people have like serious things going on in their lives that can't be rectified with you know, with a spell,
No.
or even with positive thinking.
Yeah.
And it is it's your purpose for being here, I think, is what are you here to learn, I guess would be what I would say about that.
Yeah.
So
Well, just a side note on that. We've had many people on here that they are living in those kinds of situations. And what I've always said to people is share your story. You are here to help others. If your situation is so impossible, share your story, because you will help or save the person after you. Like, you are leading the way in this problem. And if you share everything you've got, if you put yourself out there, other people can learn from you. And that, if that's it, if people just learn from you, I think that's all I'm doing, is I'm just trying to have people learn from me because I have so much. But that's enough, because it's the next generation that's all carrying back to. So if you're living in this place where you don't understand your purpose and you are in like pain or disease or, you know, uncomfortableness, and you're like, what am I doing here?
yeah.
It's not time for cussing yet. Find who you can help using those examples. Find where your story is relevant, you know.
Well, and this is like the best time to do that, because it's so easy to start a TikTok channel or a YouTube channel where you can reach an audience. And, you know, when you reach out to people from your heart, you know, about what's going on in your life, and express yourself. So if you're somebody who's like really have just a difficult life, a lot of bad things have happened to you, share, you know, this is the time where you can share that with people. And other people can like, oh my God, that's me too. I didn't know there was anybody out there that was going through that.
Yes.
And when you do that, then it helps you. So
really quickly in the chat, the journaling prompt was, I want you to remember one thing through all of this, but you are a soul having a human experience, not the other way around. You're not a human having a spiritual enlightenment, but you are a soul having a human experience. And that's, if you remember that one thing, it's like everything starts to fade away of like, this is bigger than just my daily job, bills, whatever. Okay.
all right.
Yes.
So that was a lot of theory.
Lots of theory.
A lot of theory. So
Yes.
I know that was probably a lot to grasp, but hopefully with some of the stories that we shared about, you know, how you might be able to use this in your own life, depending on what you're, you know, what you're going through in your life and how you're like, the things that you've experienced. I hope that helps some of that like theory. So
It's
now.
good to know the why,
Okay.
you know?
Yeah, it is good to know the why and, yeah.
Yeah.
So where am I on how this can help you? So.
Oh,
Right here, this is what.
oh, it was. Oh, this is a, because you guys, we're gonna open the floor soon, because this part of the lesson is almost done, the theory of magical properties of everyday items, but you need this knowledge base as you move into picking, choosing, and understanding the things that are already in your life, what you want to bring in, what you want to let go of, when we go through the list of actual items for next week. There's lots of resources online to find that as well. We do have a book that we're going to recommend, but this is a really important part that, just this small thing.
Okay, so magical properties are the same as energetic properties. Energetically, when we don't mesh with a color or colors, you can interpret that as you not needing or wanting to connect with that energy.
Yeah.
So I think that's really that's a very important statement.
Yeah.
Jamie disliking red.
I had to find out why I disliked red. I had to come to terms with that thing. So it did tell me about myself. This is where understanding what red meant and why I refused to accept it in my life was it was a lesson that I could grow through as I got older. So you can look at those things, list out your likes and your dislikes. What colors are you most attracted to? I always go back to this one. Look in your closet. What colors are missing from your wardrobe? Like, it starts to tell you about what colors are not present in your life. And colors have energetic symbols for lots of stuff. You can line them up with your chakras. You can line them up with other energetic properties within spells. But when you realize you're missing things, you're like, ooh, never liking green before. My heart chakra was very closed off. Well, in the last couple of years, we've all become super obsessed with like that deep forest green that's like emeraldy and just luxurious. And in the last 4 years, we've all come back together and healed a lot of part of ourselves. Lots of
All right, well, she's trying to figure out what she's saying. So I'm going to share with you that for like 20 years or longer, probably closer to 30 years, my house and my clothes and everything were always like maroon and burgundy and red, the really deep red. And I did not know it then, but all during that time of period where I never made this connection, of course, until I came here and got involved in witchcraft and started to learn these things about, colors and all of these things and what they mean. So red is the color of your root chakra, which is about security. It's your basic security. And all of those years that I loved red so much were times when I was really struggling. I was raising 3 kids by myself. I was working 3 jobs. Or 2 jobs rather. It was hard to put food on the table.
3?
I was always worried about, did I work 3?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, WMA, LabCorp.
Oh yeah, that's right. I did. Okay, so 3 jobs. But 2 that I went to, like, I worked all day, then I went to work at night, and then I had another part-time gig. So it was always about, like, I was always trying to create this security for me and my children, which I didn't feel like I had. So now when I look back, and now knowing what I know about red and the root chakra and all of that, I was like, wow, no wonder I was like so drawn to. I mean, you guys probably remember the house.
Oh yeah,
red was everywhere. My bedroom was all dark. The wall. I think at one time I had walls painted red. I don't know.
Yes, I remember growing up in the red house. Yes, I do.
Maybe that's why you.
So, Jamie said, one of the things that you can do just to sort of like get a feel for where you are is like go to your closet and look. If you divide up your clothes, like sort all your clothes by color, what color is missing?
Yeah.
What color is missing? When I came here, it was so funny because I got rid of almost all the red. I got rid of all the red in my house and turned to like blues, every shade of blue. But I attributed that to the Gulf because the Gulf is like these different colors of blue. But now I think, blue is
throat chakra.
Throat.
Speaking
my
your truth.
voice. Oh my God. No, I'm just having this like oh my God. Well, because I told you about the toxic relationship that I was in and how I had to leave. And I choked down so much of my feelings in that and just like I ate them a lot. I did other things to like squash them, but I couldn't speak my truth.
Yeah.
So, oh wow,
Oh,
that was a
oh.
aha moment right there.
Mm.
Okay. So at this point, I think we're gonna save the rest of these lists for next week, right?
Yes, the
Okay.
list, well, it's a preview for next week. It is the list of associations. It's just gonna be going through things. We'll have lots of stuff here to talk about. It'll be more of the show and tell part of this, but you guys needed the theory so that you could understand what's coming next and the why behind it. Because don't just choose pretty things. Like understand why you're doing it. And that makes everything so much more powerful when you're in your spell work or your ritual work or just having an altar with the collected things that you love. What energy are you bringing into your home, your life, your kids' lives, your
And-
family's life, whoever?
And now's the time to like look at those things and then
Mhm.
explore like
Yes.
what is the color? I don't know if
Write
you love
things
purple.
down. Yes.
If you really love purple, if you've got a lot of purple in your life, look up what the energetic properties of purple are. Or what
What's your
purple's
favorite
related.
color even?
Yeah, what's your favorite
Yeah.
color?
I mean, I know that's such a simple kid question, but honestly, it can tell you a lot about where somebody's mood lies, what their favorite color is, because it sort of tells you what's activated and what they seek the most.
And we have a chakra class coming up. Tracy, is that blue?
Woo! Love blue.
Purple.
Yeah.
Purple.
Oh, purple.
Purple.
Okay.
Crown
Just
chakra.
green, yeah, crown chakra, yeah. Okay, so I guess with that, we will do our little sign off.
Yes.
And then we will open the floor to questions. So if you
Yes.
have a question, if you could raise your hand and then we'll do our sign off and then we'll
Open
start
the
that.
floor.
So
Yes. Okay.
thank you for joining us tonight for week 7 of the Beginner Witch series where we talked about the
Magical properties of everyday items.
We did not
the,
get that
theor-
night.
the theory part of it. So this was
Theory.
this was
One.
This was part 1.
Part
It was
1.
all about theory. So hope this helps you.
See you
Bye.
next week for part 2. Toodles.